We're gonna go ahead and get started. So I wanna remind everyone that, this is the time, for the business of the board to take place. We always want to model decency, respect, courtesy, and politeness at all times. We want to be the best in each other and give others the benefit of the doubt. So we remind everyone about courteous behavior. Individuals are not permitted to engage in a conduct that interferes with the ability of other citizens to watch the board meeting, interfere with the ability of other citizens to offer citizen comments to the board, or interfere in the ability of the board to conduct its business. Public comments, we remind members of the public who intend to offer a comment and address the board should submit a request to address the board for indicating which open session item they would like to address, and turn in that complete form to the dais. Each individual must limit his or her comments to 3 minutes to allow sufficient time for others to also offer their comments. The board has the discretion to limit the overall time of public comments. No request to address the board will be accepted after 6:20 because we started 5 minutes and per 3 minutes. At this time, thank you, Ms. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order at 6:05 p.m. Ms. Chavitin, who will lead us on the pledge?
Mrs. Blanco.
Okay.
Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. At this time, I'm gonna go ahead and do a roll call. President Dr. Fajardo is present. Vice President Ms. Angeles Gonzalez. Clerk Karina Cordero. Present. Board Member Julio Cesar Vargas.
Present.
And then Board Member Ms. Cruz. Present. Thank you. 4-5-0. Okay. So at this time, we're gonna go into the open session. Approval of tonight's agenda. I need a motion.
Are there any changes?
Well, I was gonna ask. Yeah. Can I have someone move it? Ms. Cordero, thank you. Ms. Gonzalez, go ahead, Ms. Cordero.
No, I was just asking if there were any changes. Yes, so Madam President, for tonight's agenda, there are 2 items that should have been submitted as ratify and approve in your consent agenda, and this is starting on page 19. So item G1 and G2, both of those, the language should have said ratify and approve.
G1.
On page 19, and G2 on page 20, they both should have stated ratify and approve. This was a late change that was brought to our attention from Blaco, so we had to submit those in order for our teachers to get their stipends in time.
Okay, thank you. So with those changes, can I do the roll call for accepting that board agenda? So Board President Fajardo, yes. Ms. Gonzalez?
Sí.
Ms. Cordero?
Yes.
Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so recognitions, presentations, and special order of business, school updates. Or Superintendent's Advisory Council, district updates, community members.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and begin with just a brief school updates. We just want to begin with congratulating all of our students, and I know we have one inside our boardroom tonight that promoted from either preschool, TK, kindergarten, 5th, and 8th grade. We're just very proud of all of you. And also thank you to all the staff for their hard work in preparing our students to be able to make that accomplishment, as well as all of the staff that went into creating those wonderful days of promotion. If you go to the next slide, we captured a couple of our smiling, proud faces of our middle school students. We wish them all the best as they venture on to high school. And to our students that are remaining with us, keep working hard this summer. Don't let that summer slide slip in. Okay. So for our district updates tonight, we have one item under the regular district updates, and then we're gonna move on to our district highlights. At our previous meeting, we have talked about the fencing needs. So we do have Ms. Ilias today who will be walking us through what does that work entail, because that is going to be one of the items on tonight's agenda for your consideration.
Good evening, Lennox Board, Lennox community, Ms. Tividian. So Jefferson is in requirement of fencing, and we're gonna give a brief background on that, and the reason being is that currently it runs parallel to a high voltage power line, which is an electromagnetic field on Condon, and a high pressure gas line on 104th. So given those two, calamities that where the school's located, the CDE, which is the California Department of Education, they're requiring us to install what they call setback fencing. So they need us to install fencing that's 102 feet from the gas line and 150 feet from the electrical line. And this only applies to school properties and not residential because it's CDE's requirement. And the consequence for us not installing this field is that the DSA, which is Division of State Architect, they won't approve any of our major construction projects until this fencing is installed. So what happens is that's gonna impact some of the new classroom buildings at Jefferson, especially that's closer to the blacktop. And what triggered this fencing clause was when Jefferson was expanded back in the day. And then, so what's the required mitigation for CDE? Well, they are mandating that we vacate those buildings on the southwest corner of Jefferson, so where that SELPA building is and where some of the league rooms are, and to install a 6 to 8 foot high fence on Condon. So it's all that field area running into the playground. And then we also have to put in signs that says there is a high gas line and notifying people what are should anything happen to the lines, what procedures do we have to handle explosion accidents and procedures for safety in the students. And then so the next recommended mitigation, so their CDE is telling us you have to fence off the area that's 102 feet from Condon and also relocate some of the buildings. So I know it's very small there, but that red line is where we would install the fencing, and then also on extend parking lot fencing from Condon to Century. So what they're basically telling us is that anywhere that's within these lines of either the gas line and the electrical line, we can't have people in those areas. And then so our fencing proposal, so within the consent agenda item, we have a proposal for what type of fencing we're gonna use, which is what they call clear view fencing, and that's a picture of the fencing, but if anyone's driven by the Waymo lot, they also use that same type of fencing, so that could be your real life example of what it looks like. You can't climb the fence and you can't cut it with wire cutters. And it also came in cheaper than traditional chain link fencing. And then so, this is just a photo, like a diagram of if there was a leak, where that radius would be. And then the final slide is showing where the actual fencing would take place. So the yellow line on the bottom, that's that runs parallel to Condon. And then, 104th, I'm sorry. And then the other line that runs up and down, that's parallel to Condon. So that would just expand, it would take away like some of the field space and expand the parking lot.
So what happens to the PDC? Because the PDC is on that side.
But the PDC is barely like above it. Yeah, so it wouldn't be affected.
It's just a self-building, really.
Yes, and some of those storage classrooms.
Which right at the, we don't really have to move it, do we?
Which one?
The parent center, like the ones that are right at the, where the, whatchamacallit, the fence is going to be pushed back. It's right at the verge, right at the border,
But it cannot be
like
occupied.
right at the wall.
Yeah, but they can't be occupied for too long.
Even if it's behind the wall, behind the fence.
Well, part of the CDE requirements, if you look at on the slide 10, it says buildings can be used for storage, but only adult administration and maintenance at a time of occupancy must be kept to the minimum of 2 hours.
Yeah.
So that's for all those buildings right there, including the office, or not the office, the.
I mean, I wanna say some of those are currently used as storage.
Are you asking about this?
Yeah, estos dos están aquí. I know Sopa, this is Sopa, so esa,
Yeah.
¿verdad? Ni hablar, pero las otras cuatro, estas 1, 2, 3, 4, son 4, 5. It's like the office, no?
Yeah, the ones above the.
Yeah, above the
Yeah.
line.
Yeah.
But that's.
Do you need to relocate those as well?
Isn't it just the one below the yellow?
It's anything below the yellow, so those probably won't have
Just the
to be
Sopa.
moved. Yeah, just the Sopa.
Just a supplement. Okay. I mean, the fence is gonna be right there,
So it'd be like,
Smacked right there.
so we don't have to move them then, until so then we
I
have.
think they've already had that movement, like they were nearby, but I think it's a sub. No, I think they already, that's the south part that they have.
Yeah, there's the- yeah, those, yeah, I know the Sopa one, I goes to aquí, pero estos acá, there's nobody occupying those, those are storage.
You mean the red ones?
the ones above the
The
yellow,
ones above the yellow.
those are being used.
Yeah, see, and we're good, no?
Yeah, above the yellow line,
I
yes.
don't think it, look,
We've already taken people out.
So that's our presentation on why we have this fencing requirement.
So we have to increase the parking lot as well?
So they told us, what CDE had mentioned to us was that, the one way we could still use some of that space would be for additional parking.
So cars are okay.
Yeah, the humans are important.
And so that could be repurposed like a drop-off area? for
Yeah,
something we
that
have
could,
to talk
that
about?
could, yeah.
And
We could
speaking
look
with
at
the
those.
architect, right?
Because it's
He
less
was
than 2
for
hours, so just drop off, right?
I think those are part of the things that we discussed when we, as one of the works on our study session, we went out there. So I think as, you know, we move forward, right, is giving directions, clear directions of what the board asked to be considered by the architect.
Yeah, and I think the first step is just getting compliant, and once we have that,
Then we could create a plan.
And since we're looking at repurposing that whole green space in Lennox is very, very valuable. And I would hate to see that being concreted. Is there any way of making it like a garden or some kind of like, you know, something that the community could use, that green space, even though it's not something that'll be staying there for more than 2 hours, more like just, I don't know, you wanna sit there, read a book, I don't know, garden, something, I mean, it's green space.
I think as we move forward, that's something we could definitely investigate. I'm sure we're not the only school in the whole state that's ever done that, but my worry though is, you know, when you think about gardens, right, the digging, you know, all that whole
Or it
piece.
could be like raised beds or whatnot.
We could definitely explore.
Well, I think, let's get in compliance, right? Let's do what we need to do, so we don't put other projects, you know, at risk.
Yeah.
And then we can, you know.
Look into it. Yeah, we'll let it percolate, but definitely like, I mean, that's half of the green space, that's like half of the play area. So I would hate to see pavimento there, like if it has green, like let's use it, yeah.
We definitely explore and see what is
What's
possible.
feasible.
Yeah, okay, cool. Thank
And
you.
also maintenance wise, right, like, because it's still a property,
Yeah,
we
we're
have
still
to maintain
responsible
it,
for it.
and at the same time, we also have to guard it. So I think, as we move forward, having conversations, with the architect, and I wouldn't mind if we approve them to come in and tell us progress, what are the thoughts? Before, like, they put something together and we don't know.
Yeah, and that's something like myself, Ms. Tavidian, and Gina could look at over the summer.
Just let them know that green space is very valuable and Lennox, and we can try to save it.
So it is the end of the year and we want to end it with some district highlights. So every district administrator has 1 to 2 minutes, right, everyone? Or less, to give their highlights, and I will go ahead and begin. In terms of this year, if I had to speak of what is a highlight, the first one is having a complete executive team. And I just want to thank my cabinet members for all the hard work that they do in helping us, push forth. And it talks about why teamwork makes the dream work. Well, the other team, our governance team as well, I believe that, having our 4 study sessions this year, that we're learning together and we're leading together. So I thank the board for their just dedication and their support as well. Okay, so moving on to personnel services, Ms. Castellanos.
Good evening, board, community. Really, I want to start, I'll piggyback on Ms. Tavidian. I also told my team chuckles at this, but I always tell them teamwork makes the dream work. I think they think it's cheesy, but I do really truly believe it. I have an excellent team. You see, I'm in the picture there, Cynthia, Joanna, Jasenia, Liz, Claudia, and Hannah. Without them, the personnel department would not be. I mean, they really truly hold the place together on the personnel side of the house, and I'm extremely grateful and proud of the work that they do for our Lennox School District community. And the other highlight I wanted to talk about is our classified PD day that we held back in March. It was, like I said, well attended. Over 100 of our classified employees showed up and attended the different workshops. It was really great to present with Ms. Tavidian to our employees about applying for jobs and giving them helpful tips. And those are the 2 highlights, and I think I came in under a minute.
Right? April, business department, Ms. Elias.
So overall, like on the business services side, my highlight was meeting and working with a great team of directors. I'm really glad that I have the directors that I have, because without them, a lot of my work, it doesn't become possible. So I'm also happy that I got to collaborate with different departments. So there's a photo there of us collaborating with the HR team on our HCM payroll project. Also building capacity across the different divisions within business. So just encouraging everyone to learn and grow. Especially growing from within, and then working with the board and the cabinet team to lay the groundwork for fiscal stabilization.
That's awesome. Moving on to fiscal services.
Yeah, hello, board members, Superintendent Tavidian. Thank you all for having me. Some of the highlights for my first year here. I can't believe I'm here.
You survived Omar.
Yes, I survived. No, I'm just joking. Great highlights. The first one would be the Juneteenth payment to our CSEA members. It was a complete success with a collaboration with personnel. They're a great team. Our team as well, and it wasn't done in like a month. It took from December of last year up till they received their payment. So it's a great collaboration. We work well together. I think that was one of the highlights. Also taking the fiscal reporting in-house, finally, with the help of Ms. Elias, with her expertise, her experience, she was able to help me and Edgar, the accounting tech, how to submit the P2 report without the help of the consultants. So we were able to take that back and start set up new processes. That was a great highlight. The third one, the payroll department in collaboration with LACO. We're dealing with the HCM implementation, so haven't been having meetings every Wednesday with LACO to get ready for next year in April when we go live with HCM. And at the end, the complete team, finally team in fiscal department. Again, so we're learning a lot from Cecilia's her experience, and it's just it's great to have a complete team for sure.
Facilities and maintenance.
More members, cabinet. We've been working on the concrete well repaired to the school, new lunch tables, LED lighting in parking areas. Now we have 2025, January we start no more fluorescent light. So we are upgrading or replacing. Gas pipe update on the diesel, like we saw the setback before. Installing body benches and new playground asphalt, all the district, and new shed structures.
Nutrition services, Mr. Diaz.
Hi, good evening, board and community. I can't believe I'm approaching my completion of my first year here. To be honest, I was initially really grateful to be given the opportunity to come and lead this team here, and as the year comes to completion, I'm additionally grateful for the experiences I've had, despite challenges, but the progress we've made. And so my biggest objective when coming aboard was developing the team here, creating a culture of a healthy and collaborative culture, which I think we've made great strides in achieving, which you can see in a lot of the photos there. This was not an easy feat, but it was done through a lot of restorative practices, conflict resolution, effective leadership workshops, conversations, trainings. And what we've resulted so far from this was initially the completing our administrative review for the CACFP program with no findings, which was a big win. And then just the initiatives that we've started with creating a healthier, the health and wellness initiatives that we had for our students and communities. And then just the participation from our staff and the enthusiastic participation from our staff. So I think we've made those great first steps in building that harmonious culture, and we look forward to growing on that next year.
Thank you, Mr. Diaz. Technology.
So I'm just gonna highlight what what our technology team has done. So our DO techs have put in a lot of work to address some of the issues that we had at the beginning of the year. So they successfully installed the firewall device. They've installed the handsets across the campuses. They've improved the district's virtual server systems, and now they're developing a plan for network resiliency and cyber insurance compliance. So the tech team is like, I know they've had the vacancy in the position, but the guys there have really stepped it up and put in the work. So I'm really happy for them.
Okay, moving on to instructional services, Mrs. Blanco.
Good afternoon, or good evening, board members, Superintendent Davidian, and the Lennox community. So Ms. Castellanos shared that teamwork makes the dream work. So my cheesy slogan is there's no I in team. So first and foremost, I want to start by thanking my instructional services team. It's a wonderful group. You guys approved last week, Ms. Lara and Ms. Hunas moving on to administrative positions. So I'm going to be 2 down, but I'm looking forward to that. That is what instructional services does. It grows good leaders for our district. So things that I am incredibly want to highlight or incredibly thankful for this year is our work with the science of reading. So I really feel like our district is ahead of the game with the science of reading. There's many assembly bills that are out there right now to mandate training with the science of reading, but we have already had 70 teachers complete year 1 of the 2 years letter PD, and now we are recruiting again for next year, and I think we have over 20 that are interested to begin a second cohort, and then as well as the implementation of the M class during intervention time to progress monitor our students. Another thing that we did this year that I had been waiting for a long time was to implement learning walks where teachers went and visited each other's classrooms to learn from each other. So we were able to get that up off the ground in the spring, and that went very well. And then I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about our dashboard results. So for another year, we were not identified as a district needing differentiated assistance, which is really a big thing for a district with our population, and I often have other directors and other assistant soups call it like, got 95% disadvantaged students, how are you guys not in, I call it program improvement, but it's differentiated assistance. So this year we made remarkable progress on our chronic absenteeism rate, and our students' suspension rate really decreased as well. And then in the area of parent engagement, we opened our first community schools center at LMS. And then this spring, we also received the grant to be able to move forward with community schools at all of our elementary schools. So through community schools, we had so many farmers markets this year that I've lost count how many, but we were able to provide fresh fruits and vegetables to our students and our families. We also had immigration workshops, and as well as passing out the red cards for all of our students. Back in the fall, we had a great second annual Parent Summit with the keynote speaker of Dr. Bravo, which our parents absolutely loved and requested to have him back, so we had him back in the spring. And then probably some of the funnest work and the most rewarding work for me is coordinating with some community events such as our Leap Day, our Health Fair, our Spelling Bees, our SWAN Math Bee. So all of those things that bring the Lennox community together, and we celebrate all of the hard work that our students and our staff do.
Great, thank you, Ms. Blanco. Categorical programs, Mr. Blanco.
Thank you. Good evening. So categorical programs, our primary function is to make sure we're compliant, and we've done a great job with that, working with the school sites, with Title I and school plans, and working with district office, business services department, student services, special ed, and then working with the county and the state. So this coming year, we were up for a possible on-site federal program monitoring review. And I'm happy to say that I think we've done such a great job working with the state that we have not been selected. We are going to be passed this year. Just a couple more years to just keep on going, but we're compliant, so very happy about that. Speaks a lot about our hard work. Also, this year, some highlights, work with Dominguez Hills with their 12 tutor program. We had college students in our elementary school, the middle school, tutoring our students, really being effective with our kids, and that's been praised by all of our schools. So we're looking to bring that back this coming year. We'll see that on the board agenda. Also, we've had a Club BH tutoring our kids after school, or EL students who are most in need. That's been very successful. Parents were begging us more of that. We gave as much as we could. Have that on plan for next year as well. Our GATE students enjoyed a great spring break program, 30 hours of art and coding by experts we contracted out with. Really, really great program. AVID, we certified all of our schools again this year. That's due to our teachers working really hard, going to trainings. We have 31 staff members going to the summer training. Very excited about that. Music education, another big globe for us. We had Symphonic Jazz Orchestra this year in our first grade classes, working with all of our students. So, such a great program. Our teachers ranted and raved about it. Students were having so much fun. So now with the board's prior approval, now we're bringing that back for TK through second grade. Very, very excited about that program. It's been a great year. Parent education has been just going strong, and we're just happy to have our board supporting us with all we're doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Blanco. Student Support Services, Mrs. Munoz.
Okay, so many things to highlight, and I'm trying to do it in 2 minutes. So we'll start with LEAP. We continue with our commitment to the whole child. As you can see, We still have our dance teams. We have 185 students district-wide that are participating in short competitions. I have to highlight our Felton dance team. Our little ones were in the El Segundo parade, and the El Segundo Chambers of Commerce voted them as best performers, and they received an award. Also, our continued collaboration with LMSTA and the STEM Fair, as you can see by the pictures, and El Espejo with LMU, and of course our sports teams. I mean, those are our biggest draw. And LMS, the basketball and soccer teams made it to the playoffs. Even with the soccer teams, we made it to the playoffs. So we're gonna get better, right? And with our community connectedness is the family day. As Ms. Blanco had said, we actually had over 1,000 attendees that day. So it's really amazing to see all those parents, and they always see goodie bags. And of course, with our continued enrichment, because we do have to offer academics, we continue with our book nook, Rainbow Chef, which is hands-on cooking lessons, and of course our social emotional wellness, not only with our ALP counselors, but with Sunbeams and our other vendors. And student and family support. So of course our counseling teams consist of 8 counselors, 2 ALPs, and we have 14 interns. And we have with 8 mental health agencies, we were able to service and mentorships 665 students this year. So we keep growing. Hopefully next year we'll be at 800. And then with our wellness activities, of course, we had our cultural pride events for Mental Health Day, and our farmers markets. I do have a number. We've offered 1,900 bags of food to our families and students with the 11 farmers markets. And they also have pop-ups, which was with clothing, once again. So a lot of services are going out to our families and our students. MTSS, okay, all of this is our work of love from everyone. And I want to thank our MTSS team, Emily Cummings, Diana Martin, and Ms. Marta Funes, all of our TK through 5th grade teachers. We have planted the seed. They all receive professional development from going from punitive to restorative practices in behavior and moving to a peer approach. And we also linked the Lennox MTSS website. There's a lot of all the PD information that we provided, and we kept in touch with the teachers every month by sending monthly spotlights. And we're happy to say that in the beginning of 25-26, we're gonna have the 8-day Smart Start. So there's still a lot more to go. And I also want to highlight with LEAP, the ALP administrator, Cecilia Almaraz, who has been a tremendous help getting 211 days of fun for this school year. And again, student support services, healing begins where connection lives. It's all about the shifts, relationships. 2.5 minutes, sorry.
Okay, preschool, Ms. Rios.
So I'd like to start with a story. Not a song, but good evening, everyone. And I know that preschool is the beginning. And so with that, we try to align everything we do with the district. And so the alignment starts with the goals, the academic success, family community engagement, and resource equity and efficacy. And so before coming to prepare tonight, I asked our parent advisory council members, which represent teachers and parents, to share what they had as highlights for this year. And they talked about some core memories. And for the teachers, what really stood out was the fact that the children grew so much, like academically, socially, and they know they're on their way to continue to be successful. For the parents, that also stood out for them, just to see what their children are able to do now. But also what stood out is the collaboration and the relationships they fostered with other parents and with the teachers and even the children, and they'll go out on play dates. But what really stood out was coming together and forming the Harvest Festival that we had here nearby. And they really just looked at like how we brought everyone in together, whether it was wellness, the center to help everyone, the dental clinic, the Healing the Bay where they brought food, and then teachers stepping forward to share their time and talents. And so I'll leave you with that story, knowing that you've heard some cheesy, statements, and honestly, it's what makes Lennox great is that we all know that if we work together, we each person puts their granito, their seed, and we germinate it, water it, give it sun, that it'll nurture. And so I leave you with preschool program is the foundation, and thank you for all your support of our parents, our teachers, and the children. They are successful thanks to everyone, and I see one in the audience, a former preschooler, and at LMS promotion, we cheered for all our former preschoolers who are continuing to do great things, so thank you.
And last but certainly not least, special education, Dr. Medrano.
Yeah, so good evening, everybody. So we had a successful year in light of seeing disabilities in special education population students going up, and kind of looking to see at all of our true dedicated members within our district to support us. And so in looking at that, I think that before we look at some of the highlights, we definitely have to highlight the people who support us. Ms. Blanco, who supports our entire department and really advocates for all students, including those disabilities. But then we're specifically looking at our teachers. Our special education teachers are the hardest working teachers that I've seen in any of my 23 years in education. Our DS providers, speech and language pathologists, occupational therapists, behavior specialists, behavior interventionists, our supports for our site principals, our assistant principals, our counselors, school psychologists. I keep going on this, but we do it together with a team, and that's absolutely important to ensure that we support all our students while being fiscally responsible. And so this year, one of the things that we did is we definitely listened to our staff and to see what they needed in light of some of the extra demands that we're looking at our students, I'm sorry, on our staff. And so professional developments, so looking at specific professional developments that include touch math, Sunday, which is a alternative curriculum to teach. We're looking at our special education and our general education teachers come together and support. NCI training, which is non-crisis intervention for all special education staff, administrators, and general education teachers, and board maker training. One of the things that board maker training aligns to is the first picture you see there is giving all our students a voice. So there's some students in our district that need AAC devices such as an iPad with specific apps, and so that's the first picture we saw. This year we see a big increase of that because we want to ensure all our students have a voice. Looking at Friday instructional aid training supports, this year every first Friday of the month we dedicated time to our instructional assistants by hearing some of the needs that they had. And so we had a variety of trainings for them throughout the school year. We built sensory rooms both at Felton and at LMS, which is in the bottom picture. There's a room at Felton that we built to support all our students. And so this is focused in the area of sensory. And then finally looking at our ongoing parent participation in our parent workshops. So we have great families within our community and they want to collaborate and work together with us, and that's our goal, is to collaborate with families to ensure that they're a big part of their student success.
So thank you, directors, for your highlights tonight and for all your work this school year. Get some rest this summer, because guess what? We're gonna come back and do it again next year. For our Superintendent's Advisory Council, we did have our 5th meeting this afternoon. All of our groups have now presented on their possible options. So what the consultant, Mr. Taylor's job will now be is to take a look at those options and now start adding the numbers and the data to them. What would it entail? What savings would take place? When he comes back in August to meet with us, and he will be presenting to the board in August, is to give us an update on what that looks like, because the hope is to get a recommendation by November, and some of the criteria that you're using as these groups are coming up with their options, right? What is best for students? Is there available space? Is it disruptive to students, staff, or community? What is the amount of money that's being saved or possibly can be saved? Classroom counts in terms of how many rooms will be left open if school stays open or consolidates. Looking at special education counts, as we know that is going to be impacted when we make a decision. And obviously the last piece, current enrollment by graded site. So we did thank everybody on the committee this afternoon for their commitment, and know that when we return in August, we'll continue this hard work. And just as a reminder to our community, we will have our minutes, presentation, and everything up by this Friday, just keeping that transparency with all of our community members. We don't have any community updates, so we are done with our case on recognitions and presentations.
Thank you, Superintendent. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to reports. Lennox Teacher Association. Not here. CSEA? Okay, and then superintendent.
Okay, my report is short today. Just want to thank all of our preschool staff who will be finishing up this Friday and hopefully off for a much deserved summer break. And thank you to all of our staff members for a great school year. Please rest and recharge for an even better 25-26. To our board of trustees, I thank you all for your ongoing confidence and entrust in me with this incredible responsibility as your superintendent, and I look forward to a great 25-26.
Great, thank you, Ms. Superintendent. Okay, public comments. Okay, at this time, during the agenda of the board, the education is prepared to receive public comments from members of the public on any matter on the open session portion of the agenda. So we have one. Okay, so we're gonna invite Ms. Jacqueline Sanders.
Good evening, Ms. Vivian, Ms. Blanco, Ms. Castellanos, and distinguished board members and the Lennox community. I'm here tonight for the same reason I stood before you 1 year ago, to address the ongoing inequity in staffing at Jefferson School compared to other schools in the district. But before I speak to that, I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge what's happening in our community across Los Angeles and throughout California. These are really challenging and scary times for all of us. Thank you all for your continued commitment to make our schools a safe haven for our children and their families. Because of that, I wanted to share a little bit about myself and why I came to Lennox 29 years ago. I was raised by my parents, but especially by my Mexican American grandparents. They came to this country in 1928 in search of a better life. My grandfather spent over 40 years cleaning office buildings at night so his family could have a future. Together they raised 7 children and 4 grandchildren with sacrifice and deep love. Their story, like so many of the families we serve, is a reminder of the resilience and strength that lives in our community. Lennox families remind me of my own. So I'm asking you to consider the size of Jefferson when staffing us. Right now, the district is averaging out all the class sizes and staffing allocations across all the schools. But when you average numbers, you lose sight of the outlier, which is Jefferson. We are the largest school in the district, ending the school year with 723 students. And honestly, I'm not sure if that includes our special aid classes. Our general education classes will be maxed out. The burden ends up on Jefferson admin, teachers, and staff. I know we need to save money, and actually we need to bring in more revenue. I have joined the LPAC committee and the superintendent's advisory committee to hopefully share ideas and to really understand the budget. While enrollment may be down across the board, special education numbers continue to rise, yet our staffing does not reflect that reality. Despite our numbers this year, we lost a part-time RBT, we lost an SAI teacher, we lost a secretary, and I have continued to be very vocal about only having 1 custodian during the day at Jefferson. These may seem like small cuts on paper, but in practice they have a deep impact on students and staff. At the end of the school year, my partner and I ended with 53 students in the SAI program. The speech therapist serves 76 students. We have a full-time school psychologist who supports all students and especially the special education classes and teachers, and honestly, we could use more of her. The next year, the need will only grow. Jefferson will house 3 SDC classes, and we will begin the year with 38 students in SAI. We absolutely need full staffing to meet this demand. I'm asking you to please look at other options rather than continuing to share resources across all the schools equally. In comparison to the other elementary schools, we have 200 all the way up to 320 more students than some of the other schools, yet we have the same number of staff. We have asked for support, and I want to take this moment to acknowledge and thank Mr. Vargas for visiting Jefferson at the beginning of the year, and both Ms. Davidian and Ms. Blanco for taking the time to listen, to offer support. Their presence and attention has made a huge difference at our school. Equity is not about treating every
Ms.
school the
Sanders,
same.
I'm gonna give you 30 more seconds.
Okay, I'm okay. Equity is not about treating every school the same. It's about giving each school what they actually need. Thank you for your time and for your commitment to all Lennox students, teachers, and staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sanders. Okay, so at this time, we're gonna move to, item 7, adopt and sign minutes. So I need a motion to adopt regular board meeting on June 10th. Move by Ms. Cruz. Second. Second by Ms. Cordero. Discussion.
Yes,
Ms. Cruz?
we're reading the minutes, right?
Yes.
When reading the minutes for public comments, Ms. Pamela Ortiz addressed the board, but it doesn't say why or the subject matter. It's just like a mute point there. And then also correction in regards to my board member comments right before convening. I didn't say that I was going to provide books from my home. It was more in reference to Lennox First Little Library that's outside by Lennox Park, next to my home, and converting into a gift box. So it's just clarification. I'm not giving books, but more like the little library turning into a gift box for community to have access to resources.
I heard it was a money box, no?
I wish.
If you wouldn't have a box, it wouldn't be a box.
It would be a bank.
Thank you, Ms. Cruz.
Brincos diéramos, ¿verdad? Ay, no.
So if we can, add this to the minutes, Mr. Gutierrez?
Yes.
You know, anything else, Ms. Cruz?
That's it, just clarifying my board member comments, and if there could be a little snippet of what Ms. Ortiz addressed the board.
Regarding.
Regarding, what was the subject? That's it.
Thank you, Ms. Cruz. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and vote. Dr. Fajardo, yes. Ms. Gonzalez? Ms. Cordero?
Yes.
Mr. Vargas?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. New business action items, superintendent, approval of 25-26 LCFF, not LCFF, I'm so sorry. LCAP plan. I've been working all day. Who moved, Ms. Cruz? Thank you, and then Ms. Cordero. Gracias. Any comments? Okay, we move on to the vote. Dr. Fajardo, yes. Ms. Gonzalez? Ms. Cordero?
Yes.
Ms. Fergus? Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
All right, congratulations, it's passed. Number 2, adoption of the 25-26 Lennox School District budget. Move by Ms. Cordero.
Second.
Second by Ms. Cruz. Discussion? Okay, vote, Fajardo, yes. Ms. Gonzalez? Ms. Cordero?
Yes.
Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Thank you. Item 3, discussion guidance and approval of proposed media advertisement to support the district. Move by Ms. Cruz, second by Ms. Cordero. Okay, discussion?
Yes.
Go ahead.
What other grocery outlets are being advertised? Is it just at Supin and Smart and Final? I mean, what's the list of their?
At this time, those are the 2 stores that they're working with, but I did let them know, like, in the future, if we were, because this is just for 6 months, just to see,
Yes.
in the
It's a good
future.
price, by the way.
Yeah, say, what do you call it, and then you're showing that, it'd be nice for them to sort of take a scan of the area to see what other stores that they could go into partnership with. Because the store has to basically obviously agree to install them and go with that piece. And right now, it's a Super and Smart and Final, and those 2 stores are in Inglewood, which, are right outside of it.
To promote our district?
Yes, and they're little 15 snippets that, like I said, could be advertising specific programs, or it could also be an outreach for, we're hiring at this time, because those are the examples that I did observe.
So it would be 15 snippets that will be rotating throughout the day during operational?
Well, they're 15-second snippets, and throughout the day, they're just moving. So if you stand there, you just look aside, you know, you're getting your chocolates or whatever it is, and you can see the little videos playing.
Okay.
We're gonna move on to the vote. Fajardo, yes. Ms. Gonzalez? Ms. Cordero?
Yes.
Mr. Vargas?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So item 4, discussion, guidance, and approval of the proposed videography to support district branding. Move by Ms. Cruz.
Second.
Second by Ms. Cordero. Discussion?
Yes, I see that it's just for the like a videographer, so this is what we're paying 45,000 for a video?
So there's gonna be a total of 8 videos.
8 videos.
So 1 for each school site, for the preschool, and then 1 telling the district story. So 7 of them are spotlights, And then the district one is the story one, and the great thing about this is once they create them, she also provides you with small snippets. So like, let's say this parent engagement, she would pull that out and then I would be able to tell the principals, okay, pull that out and put that into your social media. Like she'll break down the 3 to 5 minutes down to smaller ones. She's also trying to get some aviation approval so that they can do a drone at a certain level too. So when our students are, having some of their events, to capture that as well.
And this includes editing and scripting.
Everything, yes. It's from the pre-production to post-production, and this is the company that Sentinel Valley is used, Hawthorne is used, and Whitesburg is used for their videos.
Yeah, I also noticed that Beverly Hills Unified School District recently contracted them as well for PR.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it was for 15,000, not 45,000. So I was wondering.
Do you know how many videos they did? Because like I said,
I'm not sure. It was more for the service agreement of public relations. Yeah, it is different. I think they proposed 25,000, but they agreed to 15,000. Just kind of like the scope of work, that we'll be embarking on with this contractor, and seeing what. I was just kind of curious, like, okay, 45, that's almost like half a salary of.
But I think you need to compare apples to apples. What is their contract, what is our contract? I think just going with amounts without knowing what is it that they're paying, contractors for is not a fair comparison.
Well, that's what I'm asking in regards to,
and we did add a little padding, because it says not to exceed an estimate of 45,000. Because the goal when I spoke to Erica was, can we keep it under 40,000? She's like, for right now, let's go ahead and do this, because when we were talking about the story and the pre-planning, she's like, I think we can get all of this under 40,000. We just included that just in case there's like any additional editing. I know we're gonna do some staging over the summertime as well. So, like I said, I just, when we talked about today, especially in the Superintendent's Advisory Council, is we don't want to wait until we make a decision, right? We want to start our groundwork, and that begins with, what story are we telling as a district?
And you will meet with her and give her feedback.
Absolutely, yes.
Before, not just in the board as well.
Absolutely.
and in regards to, it's just, because of all the AI tools that are out there, there's a lot of, Google just came out with, like this whole video that you don't even need people, it's all AI generated, it's amazing. And those programs go from $10 for a month. I mean, I'm not saying that, it's at that professional level, but it is a tool. And I can't emphasize enough how we as a district could really tap into these, so we are somos autosuficientes. We could actually, if we want to do this at our own, we have somebody in-house that could actually produce, public relations, do any kind of videos, any kind of pictures. For example, during the promotional ceremony, we didn't have the professional pictures, we didn't have the videographers, we didn't have those the personnel, the capacity to really tell our story. At one point we did, and like everybody's busy doing their own thing, plus on top of that doing video and photography, when we could have someone in-house that could do this year-round.
But are you advocating for a position? Because that's what it sounds like. In the past, you said no position with any other things. Or are you saying to add this to somebody else's duties?
I don't know if it would be somebody else's duties, but we definitely need a public relations ongoing. Somebody take videos and not just a one-time hit. Like, this is great, we do need it, especially going into the new school year. It's more like sustainability. How are we going to try to sustain the PR throughout the district? Will it be a TOSA? Will it be an admin? Would it be technology? I don't know. I mean, just start thinking in that way, because there's a lot of tools that doesn't require, this amount of money. They're out there, and it's just a matter of navigating the AI tools and learning how to man the machine.
But I also think, you're being one of the biggest advocates for people to show people. AI has some limitations as well. Like, if you want the story of Lennox to be told, it needs to be told by people, and it needs to be, showcasing their, who our kids are. I think in working through it. And we have said we are not gonna have a public relation position, which is gonna incur more costs with benefits and all those things. But it's also the reality, I think having something that is making us proud, having a product, you're gonna get what you pay for. And I think at this point, which is one of the biggest things that we were saying, how are we gonna brand our schools, how are we gonna do it internally, this is a good start. And then in the future, I already think the superintendent is, asking the admins to use the social media, to post, to promote, and I think as we continue to move forward is how do we continue to do that, but something's gonna give. Because, at the same time, curriculum is our duty. I mean, teaching children is our duty, so I think, I think the idea might be good, but I don't know if that's what we need right now. I think this is a good deal and we should move forward with it.
I agree, because this is in our zone of genius. We're here for the students. So contracting something like this where somebody has the experience to do it, I think it's a lot better use of our money. For now.
Yeah, for now, but in maintaining the PR, and you're speaking about we're in the business of education, this is a great opportunity to bring programs such as these to teach our students, teach our parents, teach our staff how to use these kind of tools, these AI tools that don't cost much. They're very cost effective, and they could definitely be implemented in our daily tasks. But again, this is a one-time, it's great for the purpose being, but I'm thinking ahead in regards to maintenance and seeing the our kids graduating and all these awesome things that we're doing. And we're kind of depending on our own staff to go ahead and put it together, which is great, but there's no center point. There's no, that really puts it together and tells the story the way that this person's going to do it. And if so, looking forward, where would that center be? Would it be the superintendent? Would it be which of the directors? Which of the, to really put it together?
And I think as we move forward, I mean, one of the things that we've talked about, especially looking at our LEAP program, we have a lot of, younger employees that are very savvy with technology. I mean, even like in Mrs. Castellanos' department, she's got some very savvy gals as well. And that could be something moving forward. Could it be an extra assignment? Maybe you recruit somebody to do that, as an extra assignment, not so much a position.
Like a stipend or
yeah,
a bonus or
and that's
something
that we can take a look at as we move forward to see what those needs are gonna be. Because I believe every school site has one or two people that have it. I know like LMS posts great things, and it's not Ms. Pichardo, although we'll give her credit. But she's got, like I said, very skilled people in her staff that can do that, and we can definitely explore that piece at every school site, but set clear parameters about what are the things that we want to promote. It's not gonna be a free-for-all, like, oh, just post this.
Right. It has to go with the vision and mission and the storyline of what we kind of put out there for the people to see what we're actually doing and the success stories.
All right, so let's go ahead and move for the vote. Dr. Pardo, yes. Ms. Gonzalez? Sí. Ms. Cordero?
Yes.
Mr. Vargas?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Okay. Item 5, board authorization for summer hiring. Moved by Ms. Cordero. Second by Ms. Gonzalez. Discussion. Mr. Vitien, can you share with the board some of the things that happened in the summer, and that's why you're asking for this permission?
Absolutely. Anytime we have a position, sometimes we have some last minute resignations, leaves us in a position where we don't want our students to start with a substitute in the classroom if need be. So we want to make sure Mrs. Castellanos and her department gets the support that anything that would disrupt either the classroom instruction or the day-to-day operation, including any of these, safety projects that Ms. Olita is going to be overseeing, that nothing, like I said, holds us to opening the school year, not being properly prepared, ready to welcome our students.
And if something arises, you will keep the board informed immediately.
Absolutely.
Any other questions?
In regards to the current state of affairs with ICE and all that, or?
No, we're talking about hiring.
Hiring
Item number.
Oh, okay.
Okay, authorizing her for hiring, staff. Okay. Fajardo, yes. Ms. Gonzalez? Ms. Cordero?
Yes.
Mr. Vargas?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Item 6, second reading for the bylaws 9150, student board members.
Move.
It's not an action item, it's a second reading.
Oh, then I have a reading.
Okay.
In regards, if you guys look at the top, the first paragraph, it says, the student is allowed to cast preferential votes, formal expression of opinion, to be cast before the official vote. So my question is, will this change the agenda?
First of all, it's a student, so a
Yes.
student is not an elected official.
Yeah, but it's asking to cast a preferential, even though it does not count the vote, it's still, allowing the student to go ahead and do a preferential vote.
It's just basically stating their opinion.
But will will we be asking, like, will the board president be asking what's your preferential? I'm just, will it change the format, or is it, we first, second, if the student has a discussion or preferential, opinion, they could go ahead and express it then?
I think in terms, that could be something internal where any topic that obviously is that we want their opinion, right? We would begin with like, oh, do you have any, opinions? And once they finish, they're like, okay, now the board will go ahead and cast its vote. Because it states there, right, preferential votes shall not affect the numerical
Right,
outcome.
right.
So it would probably just be the process of always allow them first if they have an opinion, and then once they conclude, then the board would go with the regular business.
Like during the discussion?
Yeah, during discussion.
Okay. I just bring that up, regarding some formalities, that's it.
Okay, moving on to business office, approve regular food services purchase order listing. Move by Ms. Cordero. I need a second. Second by Ms. Gonzalez. Discussion? Okay. Let's move on for the vote. Fajardo, yes. Ms. Gonzalez? Ms. Cordero?
Yes.
Mr. Vargas?
Yes.
And Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Okay, no food services items, no facilities, human resource. I need a motion. By Ms. Cordero. I need a
Second.
Second by Ms. Cruz. Discussion?
Yeah, can I just, regarding the, again, I love the public comment, today in regards to how the impact of, I mean, it was broken down. I was able to visualize, I'm still visual, but I was able to kind of see the impact. And
Ms.
the
Cruz, are you
benefits.
talking about any particular
Human
position?
resource, yeah, because I asked for an org chart, because of the, just thinking of HR, the org chart, and the public comment today, how it kind of really boils down, like this is the amount, this is one principal, one custodian for how many kids, like, the ADA, the attendance is what really drives, and as we're doing the cuts and whatnot, it's very critical that we actually see what's going down at each school site, the staffing, as we're making decisions.
So I think your comment is towards future items. I think we need to state, is there a particular item of this agenda that you're pulling or you would like us to hold? Because I think we need to stick to what we're talking about. We're talking about approving this.
Well, I think HR, I think org chart.
Okay, so I think we can definitely discuss this in our part of the agenda.
I'll bring it up then.
Thank you, Ms. Cruz. So with no any further discussions, can we go ahead and vote on the HR report before us on what we have? President Fajardo, yes. Ms. Gonzalez, thank you. Ms. Cordero?
Yes.
Mr. Vargas?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Thank you.
And then we do have our candidate here for Director of Technology. At this time, Mr. Gomez, if you'd like to come and introduce yourself or just address the board on approving your position.
Thank you. Good evening, esteemed Board of Education, Lennox leadership, and Lennox community members. I stand here with profound gratitude and great excitement. To be appointed the Director of Technology for the Lennox School District is more than just a professional milestone to me, it's a great honor. As someone who went to Lennox schools, the commitment that I have for Lennox is deep. This community shaped me, and now I have the great opportunity to now help its future, shape its future through this vital capacity. Over 11 years, I've had the privilege to work at different roles here in the district, and that journey has given me the perspective that allowed me to gain a deep understanding of the Lennox's infrastructure and its needs and its potential. Throughout my tenure here, I've collaborated with all departments successfully, and I wish to continue to build those strong partnerships. I am fully prepared to take care of the new responsibilities at this level. As a director, it is my vision to foster a stronger and more collaborative department that will help support our staff and students a lot better. I don't know how to say this. This is more than a job to me. This is my show of commitment to the place that formed me and gave me my chance here in technology. I promise to tirelessly make sure that our technology infrastructure is a robust foundation for all of our students' learning journeys, as well as supporting every aspect of our district's growth. I couldn't do this without my support system at home, my family. It's been wonderful to have such a support system, and they allow me to come to work every day, we're full of energy and to get things done. And once again, I do thank everyone here for trusting me and having the confidence in me. And I'm very excited to start this new chapter, and to work with everyone hand in hand to make a brighter future for the Lennox School. And in the audience, I do have my wife, my son, who is also a Lennox student.
Yes!
And my mother, who is
So welcome, Raul. We are very excited. Ms. Elias is started. And Ms. Cruz always talks about building her own, coming back.
Yes.
So we're very excited you are coming back to serve in a different capacity, definitely for leadership, and so it's gonna be a great journey, I believe so. You have the ethics, the commitment for the work. So bienvenidos, felicidades a la familia.
Thank you very much.
This is exciting. Okay, so now I am going to move to number 2, approve and revise classified salary schedule. I need a motion. Was that Ms. Cruz? Thank you, Ms. Cruz. Okay, vote. Fajardo. Is there any discussion on this item? Salary schedule? Okay, so Fajardo, yes. Ms. Gonzalez? Okay, Ms. Cordero?
Yes.
Mr. Vargas?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Okay. Item 3, approve Williams' 4th quarterly report on uniform complaints. I need a motion. Move by Ms. Cordero.
Second.
Second by Ms. Cruz. Any complaints, Ms. Blanco, any concerns, uniform? Superintendent, okay. So let's go ahead and vote. Fajardo, yes. Ms. Gonzalez? Ms. Cordero?
Yes.
Mr. Vargas?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Okay, so consent agenda. This is the time when the board takes on items on the consent agenda. So before we move, and second, are there any items to be pulled for individual voting?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Business office, item 3.
So that will be on page 10?
Page 10.
Page 10, item 3.
Item 3.
Okay.
Let's go ahead. Page 14. Item 2.
14, item 2, got it?
Page 6.
She said 2. Page 14, item number 2.
And then the following one is page 18,
Okay,
item 4,
page 18, item 4.
page 23,
Mhm.
item 8. Page 20.
Hold on, Ms. Cruz, page 23, item 8. Mhm.
On page 24, item 10.
Okay.
And then finally, page 25,
Mhm.
page 11, I'm sorry, item 11.
Item 11. Okay. Thank you. So let's go ahead and move the items with the exceptions of the ones mentioned. I need a motion. Moved by Ms. Cruz, second by Ms. Gonzalez. Vote. Fajardo, yes. Ms. Gonzalez? Ms. Cordero?
Yes.
Mr. Vargas?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Okay, so all the items pass with the exceptions of the one pulled. So page 10, item 3, approved service agreement with MGT Impact Solutions. I need a motion. Moved by Ms. Cruz,
Second.
second by Ms. Cordero. Go ahead, Ms. Cruz.
Is this the same, the same contract that we had previously for Ms. Anita, or is it in addition to?
For Ms. Arlita?
Yeah, this is for, I'm sorry, what is this for? For the business?
MGT Impact Solutions.
Assistant Superintendent Business
Yes.
Office, right?
So when Ms. Arlita was hired, one of the things that we included, in terms of her hiring is providing her with a mentoring for the first year. She did start December, so she didn't have her full year, so the contract, even though it says July 1st to June 30th, it's just to ensure a smooth transition, and like I said, we've heard nothing but great things from Ms. Tina, who was our former interim, and we wanna make sure that Arlita stays with us for a long time, and making sure that, like I said, that, she is getting the guidance and support that she needs.
So it's in addition to, so in other words, we're extending because she didn't get her full year, right? She
Correct.
just came in.
And because we're in a new fiscal year, we have to have.
Then again, the oversight, ultimately, yes, it's best practice oversight, through the mentoring program, but ultimately it's the superintendent that has the ultimate oversight. correct?
Absolutely, and we're always in constant communication. I mean, like I said, I think the fact that Ms. Tina served as, cabinet member, we're all very open with her, and she feels very comfortable sharing, the yays and the nays with us.
Wonderful, okay, thank you.
We're gonna go into the vote. Fajardo, yes. Ms. Gonzalez? Ms. Cordero?
Yes.
Mr. Vargas?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, now we move on to page 14, item number 2. It says approve the renewal of the following district-wide technology applications. I need a motion. Moved by Ms. Cruz,
Second.
second by Ms. Cordero. Discussion?
Yeah, in this one, these are all the applications that we have. I mean, it's gonna be with our new director of technology. So he'll make sure that all these, applications are, implemented. And it's just a renewal of what we already have. There's nothing new to it.
Correct.
Like, for example, the, Ayobe, like that wouldn't fit in here. We would have to kind of explore that.
Yes, but this is just a renewal of our existing, technology licenses. So this supports the infrastructure side.
So for example, Ms. Cruz, Power School, that has to do with the platform of grades and attendance. And if you see SIS, I'm sure that's almost a.
It's our student information system.
Right, and the reason why I'm bringing it, because it is Power School, and Ayobe, I know, I brought it up previously, and it has to do with, analytics and also outcome in regards to, efficiency of the programs that we do use, for our students. Kind of like this is the goal, they will reach it or not, and it's very, at least what I've read, it's very efficient, especially when it comes to a budget and implementing, the efficiency and the finances behind it. I'm just curious if, the Power School.
So one of the things that normally happens is obviously you have your contract, and then throughout the year, they'll always reach out like, hey, we wanna come and meet with you, can we come and share like any new features? So I do have it in my July agenda to reach out to them and to come and present to one of our cabinet meetings. just to talk about what might it look like. That
Okay.
way we get a little more information, because I know right now it's been a busy time, but I have not forgotten. I have been down to take a look at all of
And
it.
I think it's important for Ms. Cruz to know that this information systems, when our students move to the academy, Animo, CB, they have the same platforms. So instead of continuity of, right, just because they graduated from 8th grade doesn't mean we stop servicing, because we might have gender studies. But that system, we're not a unified school district, but that ensures that, for example, student with an IEP, right? Although if they have a Wellington and it's a different system or SACE, you know, it is important to have that continuity of platforms, so it's in smooth transition. You know, then when other districts have other systems, then you have to send a queue, and the queue might get lost, and the paper, I mean, I think this is essential to have now, so the year starts without any concerns.
Right, and that's not in question, it's more like in addition to, like,
What is it that they can provide to support?
yeah, like,
Be
to
effective.
support more effective in regards to the programs that we invest in, like, being the after-school program, anything that has to do with the LCAP, anything that we actually invest in, and we have a goal set, then we need it. It gives you that analytics alignment, but I think I'm sorry.
But just a, not to interrupt, but just a word of caution with Power School software platforms. It's like Minecraft. Anything you wanna unlock, you need to pay for it. So lots of what I call in-game purchases.
That's why I figured we'll have an intro just
Yeah.
to see what it might look like, because like I said, a lot of times, it's beautiful, the way you package it, but then when they actually give it to you, it's not.
You have to pay all this extra to unlock just the basics or something.
Yeah, like I said, at least it gives us a time where our minds are a little more clear in July to be able to take it.
For sure,
take
Miss
it on the
Anita
road.
will be in it, right? So you make sure all the unlocked stuffs are.
Not gonna approve, that's what
If I have to unlock a costume, then I'm not buying that game.
All right, so thank you. For Fajardo, yes. Ms. Gonzalez?
Sí.
Ms. Cordero?
Yes.
Mr. Vargas?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Okay, so now we move on to, okay, page 18, item number 4F4, thank you. Thank you. Approve the following recommendations to make to the committee on the assignments, for the 25-26 school year. I need a motion. Move by Ms. Cruz. Second by Ms. Cordero, discussion?
Yes, during the promotion ceremony at LMS, I saw a flyer that had to do with, it was by the bathroom, by the fountain, it said something, I should have taken a picture of it, but, anyways, it said something about like a media or digital media club or something like that. Does that have to do like one of our teachers here, like, are they,
No, I think they have.
is it like a club?
You know
Or is it
how
more like
students,
a-
like they always have clubs, they have clubs at LMS during lunchtime.
Oh,
So
okay.
some teachers have different like topics that kids might like during lunch. It has nothing to do with.
So not these specific, it
No,
could be any
this-
teacher could create a club.
Yeah, anybody can create like a club of something that they have an interest for and that the kids wanna join, so. But this is a whole formal process, yeah.
So for example, theater, like Mr. Ramos he does like a whole production for theater.
Yes, so the reason we do this is because Mr. Ramos, for as an example, he doesn't have a credential that authorizes him to teach theater. So, the education code 44258.7 allows school districts, to go through a process where we are able to authorize these teachers. So what happens is, we set up this whole system where, Ms. Becky Blanco, because she does instruction, we have an administrator from the school side, in this case it was Marvelyn Garcia, and we have two teachers representing the school, Ms. Jessica Catalan and Myra Gonzalez. They form what they call a committee on assignment. You, the board, authorizes us to have this committee in place, and you said these 4 individuals will convene, and these teachers all have to submit an application. They have to submit why they are equipped to teach this topic, and then the committee reviews every single application and how they described on there why they could teach this. So for example, Mr. Ramos he put on there, I've taught this before, I have this experience, etc. Then the committee on assignment takes a vote. Do we feel that our students would benefit from this, teacher teaching this class? Do we feel even though he doesn't have a credential in this area, can he teach this? And these are all areas that are not, core subjects, as you can see here, they're not math or science, so that's why this is called the COA. We call it the COA, Committee on Assignment. And so all of these were approved by the committee. I have here, for example, here's my COA page. Since I'm sitting next to you, I can show it to you. The committee authorized, you have the signatures of these 4 people saying, yep, we feel comfortable that all these individuals can teach these classes work.
And is this additional to what, their workload? Do they
No, this is gonna be their class. This is, so for example.
Like an elective, it's their elective for all the Lennox Middle School
But you know how we have the
students.
missed assignments, those reports we have to turn into we have assignment monitoring every year. So the state reviews every single assignment for the school district, and if we don't go through this process, then we could be dinged. It'll be a finding that we misassigned, we allowed somebody to teach a class that they're not authorized to teach.
And is this based on like for example, like a teacher in the future wants to, for example, teach an AI or teach a business class or teach something of that sort, and maybe that the school board is interested in pursuing some kind of program. If we were to find the interest of a teacher, like, oh, I'm a pro on that, I could do that.
So that'll all depend. So to answer your question, the principal, right, with her team decides the master schedule. They decide what electives they're gonna offer. And if that is something that comes up as an example, then that would be something that could be brought up through the course.
But it doesn't have to be like like for example, right now it's on this agenda, on this timing, but if something was to come up in the future, can it be brought to the board? Or do we have to wait a whole another academic year?
Because this is a whole, we don't wanna get a misassignment. This is done once a year, unless in the fall we have like a new teacher or something, but this is pretty much done right now. So that come fall, we pass the assignment monitoring.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Castellanos,
Thank you.
for explaining the process.
Thank you so much.
So we're gonna go ahead and move to the vote. Fajardo, yes, Ms. Gonzalez? Ms. Cordero?
Yes.
Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Okay, so now we move on to item G8. Okay, page 23, G8, approved service agreement, C1219:2526 with the California University of the Vegas. Moved by Ms. Cruz. Second by Ms. Cordero. Discussion?
Yes, is the tutoring just for STEM cells? Or can it be for also mathematics or any other addition to the needs of the students, which is STEM cell?
No, so it runs out of the STEM education portion of Cal State Dominguez Hills. These are all students that are in the teacher education program. So, but they are actually working with our ELs, so they're trained to work with ELs. They're trained to work with AVID. So they run out of the STEM education, but they're actually working, they're not actually working necessarily with science, but mostly with English learners and with AVID.
So students that are in the AVID program or our EL students have access to these tutors.
Correct. So
with the STEM educational program.
Correct. So our AVID so the essential portion of the middle school AVID program is that they have tutors. So within the AVID class, there's tutors where children can take like their issues or their concerns from their math class or their English class or their science class.
So it could be for all of the above.
Correct.
Like for example, Kumon, right? They have like a tutoring program that parents actually pay for that outside.
Money.
Or the math, there's another one, Magnesium es en el segundo.
Yeah.
You know, so people pay for that. I'm just wondering if our Cal State University of Dominguez STEM educational program also helps with just general tutoring or.
So in the AVID program, it's general tutoring. So the class helps students with organizational skills, with note-taking skills. So the teacher does lessons, but then part of the class is also like, okay, it's your tutoring time. Like if you have a problem in your math class that you're not understanding, you can get help from the tutor. And then with the English learners, they're assigned to in the elementary schools, they're assigned to the intervention teachers, and then they're working with small groups of students on English language development.
So this is district-wide, right? It's not just for Lennox Middle School?
No, district-wide. At the elementary, it looks, at the middle school, they're working with Avid. At the elementaries, they're working with our intervention teachers and running small groups for English language development. And Mr. Cronfeld's done a very nice job of coordinating with them.
Thank you. Yes, then that's also given the college students experiences in our classes.
And just my final question, can students self-appoint themselves, or can parents ask for this resource, or does it have to be teacher-driven?
Very good question. So if they're in the Avid classroom, it's the students that have the Avid elective.
So they have to be an Avid.
For the English learners, we have like a priority list, so I believe they're working with our most neediest students, right? And then we move up the list.
Okay. So it's more student, right? Like, I'm sorry, it's more like teachers are the ones that kind of.
So at the elementary level, it's based on their LPAC scores. So the lowest students are the ones that get
On the list.
Yeah.
And then the Avid.
And Avid is the Avid class. They have to be taking the Avid class to be, because the tutor has to work with the Avid teacher because they can't be alone with the students, right? So they work in the classroom with the Avid teacher.
So it's program specific. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Go ahead and move to the vote. So I vote yes, Ms. Gonzalez. Ms. Cordero.
Yes.
Mr. Vargas.
Yes.
Ms. Cruz.
Yes.
Following item G10, approved service agreement C1221:2526 with Lisa Mo.
Move.
Moved by Ms. Cruz,
Second.
second by Ms. Cordero, discussion.
Yeah, I see that she's an awesome AI teacher who will be at Hawthorne High School. Is this part of the LCFA, or why is it?
This is our EdTech Summit. Remember I showed you that we're gonna have like a full day of AI generated, and it's to support our teachers. So on August 6th. It's gonna be our first ever EdTech Summit, and so to launch off the summit, it's gonna be this keynote speaker to talk about what it is and overall, like, sort of like the capacities of it. And then there's gonna be 4 breakout sessions where teachers can go and learn how it can help them be a little more strategic and save some time using AI as a tool.
And Centinela Valley is being gracious enough to donate the facility for us that day, so we don't have to pay for Hawthorne High. The reason we're having it there is because we don't have a big enough space here that all of our teachers, so we used it last year when we did a science of reading training for all of our teachers. So they have a very big multi-purpose room / cafeteria in the center of Hawthorne High. So we'll have the keynote in there, and then we'll break out into the classrooms for the breakout session.
And will this be part of the keynote speaker's presentation, or do we have someone specifically that will be providing?
She is the keynote speaker.
But also with the breakouts?
No, the breakout will have individual speakers.
Yes, the breakout is LACO personnel. So the breakouts are gonna be LACO personnel, and Lisa Mo was actually recommended by LACO, by the LACO unit that handles the AI. So they recommended them.
Okay, so LACO will be providing our staff with the tools.
Correct.
So they could actually implement, not just go to a summit, get inspired, and then where are the tools? So the tools will be provided through LACO.
Well, the teachers are provided by LACO. During the instruction, during the workshops, they're gonna learn, sort of like how we did, how they shared us at the different platforms, the same thing will take place.
Yeah.
And for future reference, like, so this is like a one-day summit, it's kind of like going to a conference, which is great,
Yes.
but what about, again, maintaining this, inspiration of, and bringing these tools into the classroom? Do we have a TOSA, do we have someone specifically, kind of like the same thing with the, whatchamacallit, is the, with public relations, do we have, it's like spreading the accountability, right? Like, do we have a center point when it comes to AI? Who's going to help us bring this summit to fruition for the next year? It's already to the next level. It's not just like one event and then that's it. Or just leave it to the teachers, like, hope you guys took notes. You know what I'm saying, like, who's going to help us implement this?
Well, just like a vending conference, once we provide it, right, we ask the teachers their feedback. Would you like some additional support? What areas would you like to support? Using that feedback, Ms. Becky will go ahead and take a look, and I know she's lost her TOSA,
So
but hopefully,
this was my technology and tech TOSA. In the future, I look forward to collaborating with Mr. Raul so that we can do it, technology and instructional services do it together. For this year with our first one, and there was a vacancy in that department, my department, instructional services just took it on. But in the future, it should really be a joint effort.
Definitely.
Yeah, and hopefully I'll find a new ed tech TOSA.
Yeah, and I'm like, for the next TOSA coming in, I think it's definitely going to be a big component to really have that AI, savvy and yeah, and progressive and just be proactive, because it's constantly changing and there's a lot of savings for the district as you do find these tools and utilize them. And I think it's just, leaving our teachers with the tools in their hands, not just like a one-time event, like again, maintaining the summits energy for it to last for the rest of the year, yeah. So, thank you.
So we're gonna go ahead and move for the vote. I'll have a vote yes. Ms. Gonzalez? Ms. Cordero?
Yes.
Mr. Vargas?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Okay, G11, approved service agreement C1224, 2526 with Little Amendment University. Move by Ms. Cruz.
Second.
Second by Ms. Cordero. Discussion?
Yes, is this, again, the Family Institute, it's just for our dual language parents? Again, it's program specific?
This one is
It is specific, it says right
Yeah.
there. Dual language instruction facility, a family institute designed to support parents in guiding children reading of text in ELA, science, and social studies.
So this is just for Moffitt and for our dual language, immersion program? The Institute for Parents, we don't have anything other than that for them?
So I believe that this contract is, has different layers to it. So some of it is to provide professional development for dual language, and then part of that also has a component of working with our families on facilitating the guided reading.
So the level of capacity, it's not only, it's for staff and parents, so that institute will help our parents implement what we're teaching in the classroom. Like to not to a homeschooling
Yes,
level?
and not to a homeschooling level, but giving them strategies on how to help with reading, right? With
Comprehension.
whether it be in their L1 in their first language, or whether it be in English, but bridging that home to school.
Home to school bridge.
Yeah.
And just
But
that.
there is part of this contract that is also for working with our dual language teachers in professional development, mostly on trans language.
Language transference.
Language transference. ¿Y esto es para todas las escuelas o solo para the DL?
So what is DL? So if you remember, Ms. Gonzalez, this was the one that we saw when we went to CABE, and we approached them at CABE about coming and providing services to us.
Okay, and this, just out of curiosity, is this only institute for parents? I know it has a professional development, component to it, but in regards to institute, I know once upon a time, we had a parent institute, a kind of like an academy.
So we've got lots of parent institutes. We have a special ed parent institute for special education parents. We have, every month, TOSAs went out to school sites and they did professional or trainings with our parents on the 7 habits of success. We also had ones for the summer slide, for how to help prepare for test scores. In addition to that, we had Mr. Bravo series, so we had so many things for our parents, yes.
And they're program specific and also in general, like any other parent could.
Yeah, so if, like Dr. Bravo's program, we housed it at LMS, but any parent can go. The TOSAs went out to every school site and delivered the same
Is there a way of making like a, not so much a syllabus, but like a calendar, like in the next school year?
Yeah, so we actually have a
See,
parent guide that we
Yeah.
created at the beginning of the year, so I can share that with you because it had all of the different things that
Okay,
we
I haven't
offer.
seen it.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
So we have, it's a nice little brochure that I can show you.
We're gonna vote on this item, you know, for this particular contract. We're deviating, I need to get us back in. So my vote is yes. Ms. Gonzalez? Ms. Cordero?
Yes.
Mr. Vargas?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Okay, so now, we go to, there's no closed session tonight. Future agenda items. Ahora sí, Ms. Cruz. And I think it might be direction as well. I think we would work.
So actually, and before I begin, I know, at our last meeting, Mrs. Cruz mentioned about having an org chart with sort of a breakdown, and I did wanna request, only because, you know, it's late and you're hearing all this information, and I wanted to see if we can schedule a time where we can sort of sit down and you could sort of chart out how you envision that. Because I know on the day, the last meeting that you mentioned, you were talking about like the school site, right? And obviously it begins with the administrator, but then you also talk about adding different layers of information, and I think it would be helpful to sit down and sort of jot it down, that way we can take a look and see what we can come up with.
Kind of like what the, like the way that she kind of like broke it down, like, so there's so many students here at Jefferson, and there's, you know, so many teachers, and there's only one,
So you not only want an org chart, you
Because
want more than that.
those are ratios, and those
Org
are
chart with ratios.
Yeah, because an org chart is just a graphic organizer, right, with boxes.
Yes.
This one is on the top, this one follows, this one follows. So I think what the superintendent is asking, in addition to that, what are the other elements that you would like to see?
What's impacting?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, if it's possible, if you and I can schedule a time for us to sit down and sort of take a look, because, there's
She
a
needs
lot,
direction.
there's a lot of layers of that onion.
Okay.
So she needs your feedback.
Está bien, yeah, but that's kind of like how when she was speaking, like, like, that makes sense. Because then it's gonna help us as a board, to set direction and make decisions.
And, I do for the future, and I did say this to the superintendent, I think, I came in today with the impression that it was going to be only 2 items on the agenda, and it turned out to be a very full agenda. So, and I directed the superintendent to tell the board that it was gonna be longer than a half an hour agenda. Because I need to be respectful of your time, you know, and then, you know, some of us are coming straight from work, even though school's out doesn't mean that we're not working. And so I do wanna, you know, please, when it's, you know, a special, let's just stick it to what it is, you know, if it's it should only be the LCAP and the budget. You know, let's try and get as much planning as possible for next year, so we have all the other items in the previous agenda. Because I mean, I feel really bad that I say to a colleague, 1 hour please, and you know, you have, and then we're like, you know, past this, I know items need to get passed, and this is all very important. And I do not want to diminish, you know, your appointment, but I think it's also important for us to be very transparent, you know, and say, you know, I think we need to keep it within the time limit of what this special board meeting was supposed to be for. So that was just my, you know, comment for the future. Are there any other future items as we go on break? Superintendent, you will be available for text messages?
I will, but just letting everyone know, on Friday, I get to go with my oldest. We're heading off to England for his much postponed graduation gift from 2021. So I will be back on the 26th. God willing.
Thank you. Safe travels.
Thank you.
Can you bring us something?
Would you like some biscuits or tea?
Yes, bring us tea. And we'll have the mustard tea party then.
We all like burger.
Tea, we want tea, tea.
I saw you more as a Gucci man.
Any other items?
Yes, can we, research, so I would need to, more like research. I remember once upon a time, there was a Lennox School District Foundation. It's almost like a nonprofit that we have. I'm not sure if it's still active or if, and who is, Where is it? What happened?
It's like Lennox Educational Advancement Foundation.
Is it that one? It's like a nonprofit.
With Mr. Estrada was the.
See,
And he
it
would
was
get
like a nonprofit,
scholarships.
get scholarships and.
I think
but
we
it's a
ended it
nonprofit?
this year. I think they
No,
can do it
let's see,
this
it
So
was
it
our
will-
nonprofit.
Well, I think it's time to revamp it, you know, and we can consider that, because, yeah, he did close it. Because
this
he
was his
did,
last one.
yeah, because he did send a letter to one of our donors who's been donating for a scholarship on behalf of her daughter. You know, one of our former Lennox teachers in Samir. So she had a scholarship on behalf of Jamie. So, you know, so Ms. Tarantino, can we follow up and continue to
Yeah.
work with that?
Because I think, something that the, LTA president continues coming up with the alumni thing. And I'm like thinking, ¿sabes qué? We had a league, we had a nonprofit, and we could operate the alumni, idea through the nonprofit where we could, do sponsorship, we could do like, bring it on. So we need a nonprofit.
Take on the sponsorships, not sponsor people. But, you
No,
know,
pues
have
tú
to be-
sabes, you're able to receive tax deductible, todo eso. And I know we had that, and so I was just kind of bringing it up, you know, exploration, or más bien research, because I know we had it. Yeah, bring it back and see where we're at and how we could, pick up that idea of the whole alumni. Because there's a lot of successful stories out there, and if we're in a crisis and a need or something with these future generations coming through, I mean, who's better than to pick up the phone and call, hey, we need your help, right? Okay.
Hey, but I have a question.
Yes.
Is there a way that we can, because I think we went through the agenda like in 45 minutes. It's taking us like longer for the question than the actual, you know, like the agenda of, is there a way where we could maybe, you know, before the meeting we meet, so we don't have to be here over an hour just asking questions, because, you know, it's not just today, I think it's been constant, and it's just my opinion, maybe it's me, maybe I'm crazy or something, but I just seen it too often where we're just asking questions or clarifications, or maybe we could do them beforehand, and we could respect each other's time, and then, you know, it's just a comment, because I've seen it already a few times, and it's been like a routine now.
So with the agenda items, the process is you move, you second, and you have to have a discussion. If we were to delete that discussion, then we'll be out of compliance of what we're supposed to do on the agenda.
But like, for example, if Ms. Cruz has a question, can she meet with maybe the superintendent and say, okay, I have 100 questions, can you help me answer 80 of them? And then maybe 20 of them are shared here, and that would save us 75% of our time. You know, I don't know, I just.
So I think you are stating, you know, you're doing your I statements and sharing, you know, if we can move things along, but things might come up. So to answer the question that you asked me, you know, I cannot stop from having comments. Because if we do not have comments, and I do not do that, then we can be called in a finding that we are not letting, you know, the board members ask questions, because in this case, it's only us, the board members. I think, you know, we all have scheduled time with the superintendent to ask questions, and other things might come up. But I think, you know, I think your point was heard, and thank you.
Continuation in regards to the, upcoming, items. Is it possible to have surfer pros for board members here on the dais for them to, because a lot of things are online. I don't have any.
What are you asking?
Surfer pros, you guys know what that is?
No, that's why I'm
Surfer
asking, what are
pros,
you asking?
Surfer pros are like, it's not so much, a laptop, it's more like kind of like a book, like a notebook, where you could just open instead of having papers, you know, it's like I could actually have it here where I could just kind of scroll. It's almost like a, not a cell phone, it's too small.
Like an
A laptop is
iPad?
too big.
Like an iPad?
Not an iPad, Surfer Pro.
It's like a
It's like
notebook.
a tablet, but it has like keys.
So instead of paper?
No, both.
Okay, because I mean, you've been the one who advocated for paper.
No, sí, no, pero las dos, se ocupan las dos. I mean, talking about technology, just something that we could have here, optional, just so I could, you know, whenever I come to the board meeting, if I need to pull something out, I can pull it out, to show.
So I think we should explore it, because I think it involves cost.
Pues por eso digo, for future, just surfer pros, they're not están más baratillas.
So superintendent, you can.
Yeah, they're not laptops, they're not iPads, they're not, you guys know what a surfer pro?
Yeah, well, you could easily
Okay.
just Google that, yeah.
Just explore that idea. And then finally, when it comes to the whole situation with ICE and the fear that's going on in our
So is that for
community.
board member reports?
No,
Or is that for
actually a possible item.
Okay.
LAUSD has this whole system for people that are afraid, students in attendance, talk about, making sure our students actually come to school and our parents are not running scared and staying home. Just, staying out of public view because of the whole situation. They ended up doing a transportation program that they pick up students, not all students obviously, but the ones that might be having situations with the whole, current affairs with ICE and immigration and the whole fear factor. And they also have opportunities for remote or online participation. For example, we have like a parent, there's a parent meeting, but parents are not coming because they don't wanna walk the streets because maybe there's whatever the situation is, that they're afraid to go to whatever school site. We have opportunities for them to go online, a Zoom or something. This is what LAUSD has facilitated for parents and students not to be afraid to come to school and attend ongoing meetings and whatnot. Something for us to explore options, because this is going beyond that maybe it's gonna be a week, pero ya vamos, and there's the demonstrations are still going on, the fear is still there, so I'm just kind of putting it out there for the board to consider something.
So I think you need to explore, because I'm an LAUSD and I know we went on break, but I think you might be talking about other things that might be out from another department, because I know we're having summer school and I know there's no transportation except for students with special education. So I think, might be something to research of what is it. But I think also, you need to remember those resources that LAUSD has compared to what we have. In my opinion, and the issue is that we can no longer do online, because if we went online because we were on a pandemic. So we can't collect the ADA.
No estoy diciendo like for students to stay home and do online, no, more like parent engagement, for example. Like if there's an after school something meeting, they don't have to worry about,
That's something that the meetings can be on Zoom.
Yeah, we can definitely have hybrid meetings.
having options so people could still participate. That's it.
Okay, so, board member reports. I do wanna take a moment of silence for our Minnesota officials who were murdered. There's no place for violence. And I would like the board, as an elected official, I'm like, really? And we're all at edge. And today when the banging of the door, I was really like, what is going on? So out of respect for our democratic system that we have, I would like to ask a moment of silence for their families, for their service, and for peace to come into our communities at all levels. So if you can join me, I'd appreciate it. Thank you, board. Okay, so any other board member reports?
I wanted to thank all of the directors for their presentations. I always enjoy them. I love looking at the highlights for the year. I always think that's very important to to put our work out there that you guys have all been a part of. So I really appreciate it. And I hope everybody has a wonderful
Pues yo quiero decir algo, ¿verdad? Estoy contenta por un año más de logros, muchas mejoras para los niños. Siempre al final del año a mí me emociona porque veo los resultados del trabajo de tanta gente y todos los beneficios, ¿verdad?, que nuestros niños tienen. A lo largo de este año, pues nos ha tocado vivir muchas cosas, ¿verdad? Como familia, como ciudadanos, como mesa directiva y el ver los logros de estos niños en sus promociones, o sea que no nos tumban, ¿verdad? No nos bajan la moral y yo creo que todo eso se debe al equipo que está siempre fortaleciendo a las familias y a los niños. Estoy muy orgullosa de los 5, de usted también, porque creo que hemos hecho un buen equipo y hemos sacado al distrito adelante. Me gusta el trabajo como lo estamos haciendo, gracias por el apoyo. Y pues este último año para mí no fue fácil. Tuve retos, traté de estar muy involucrada lo más que pude, pero lo hicieron muy bien. Los felicito a todos. Gracias.
Yes, just reporting back in regards to the efforts to collect groceries for families that are again in fear because of the ICE raids in LA. There's actually it's a nonprofit. It's called healthylosangeles.org, who would be spearheading this effort, and they will definitely work with the district in regards to legalities and who are the volunteers that will be coming into our community schools and making sure we have an organized, coordinated effort for our families to receive whatever it is that they need for these trying times. So that's what I want to report back.
Thank you so much. We were talking about that today, so that we'll pass that resource on to Ms. Desiree.
Thank you. And then just finally, I want to address what Mr. Varga was speaking on. We all have different leadership styles. I am very grassroots. I am very open, transparent, and public. And this is my style. I like to inquire publicly, and I do inquire privately as needed, or even suggest any kind of feedback behind the scenes as well. But I prefer publicly, and I do my due diligence, and I try to be very brief, even though it doesn't seem that way. I mean, it's not even 8 o'clock, and this is a lengthy agenda items, and I think it's also very beneficial for the public to see the behind the scenes, the explanations. It's very educational, and I think that's the business that we're in. And in no way am I trying to deter, taking 75% of whatever percentage you're perceived that I'm taking more than I should. I'm just going along with the agenda, and it is in my due right as a public official to go ahead and question the process. That's it. Thank you.
I think at no point I was trying to question that. I think there's a more efficient way to answer the questions, because most of them are just clarifications. If we could do that behind the scenes where it's not, we're not involved with people's time, I think we're able to do that. I know we meet individually with the superintendent and all those concerns we have. I prefer to address them there because I don't wanna, I don't wanna say waste, but I think everybody has, they wanna be home with their families. So, that's my approach, and that's what I was just saying.
I respect that, just that we all have different leadership styles, that's all.
And then lastly, I just wanna say, to all you guys, thank you guys for what you guys do. You guys are the ones who lead 4,000 students here in Lennox. You guys push them to be the best. You guys, teach them, whatever it is that you guys do. So I just wanted to say, great job. And at the end of the day is teaching our kids that they could be anything they want. That's just the reality. You could see from a doctor to an engineer to general contractor to whatever it is, honestly, like anybody can be whatever they want if we push them, if we teach them the right, discipline or the right skills, whatever it is, they could be anything they want. That's what I teach my kids. And that's the advice that I give any little kid that I talk to, just, hey, what do you want to be? And just go for it, try it, and at the end of the day is the discipline that they have, and I think us pushing them to let them know that they could be whatever they want. So, thank you guys.
Thank you. Okay, bueno, I wish everyone a safe summer. We will stay connected, and we are community, so let's stay together and support each other in this, right? So I need a motion to adjourn. Okay, Ms. Gonzalez, second. Ms. Cordero, okay, so we are adjourning at 7:59 p.m. I need a vote. Fajardo, yes. Ms. Gonzalez? Okay, Ms. Cordero?
Yes.
Mr. Vargas?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Sí.
Okay, yay!
And directors, please help yourself to, I believe, a chicken sandwich.